Mm, what were my karmic lessons during my awakening? I don't remember what we started with exactly. Like, but the one that comes to mind now immediately is two actually. It's about alignment and also the ego. I think they go hand in hand. Um, so I think it was alignment. But hmm, yeah, I think it was alignment. Or perhaps the ego. Or they perhaps were going, you know, because in order for you to be aligned, I think they go hand in hand. Because in order for you to be aligned with source, when I say source, I mean God Himself. When I say um God, I also may be referring to the universe within God, and I may be also referring to spirit, because be different. It's different levels of Him. He's more than just God, the Creator. That is, He's more than God, the Creator, and from Him, you have a program called the universe or universes, multiverses, however many. But let's just talk about our universe, the one that we know. So when you say the universe, you're also referring to sort of, it's not him, but it's more like a sub program within him, right? And then after the universe, you get your different planets or different, what is it? Will they call them what? Celestial bodies or something like that. Yeah, but different things like your planets, your stars, your moons, and whatnots. So that's when you're gonna get Earth, right? Under that universe, right? And then when you're under that Earth program, you will find um, the other things that have been created within that program, and also including humans. So when I say alignment with God, the Creator, is that alignment with the energy that God, the Creator, affords us as beings that He created, as celestial bodies that He created, as the earth that He created. Everything has to be aligned in within Him, be aligned with Him. When I say alignment, is how I understand is that everybody and everything, including, I always give an example with the sand, the soil particles are part of Him, are part of His programming. He makes those programs, He brings them to life wherever they need to be, whatever it is that they need, in terms of what kind of energy they need to have. Do they have to have an energy of a human, or an energy that would sustain a human, or an energy that would sustain an animal, or an energy that would sustain soil, whatever. He assigns energy accordingly. So alignment is more in a sense of um, spiritual, sort of like your spirit, your your beingness um, is aligned to Him. Your mind, your feelings, your thinking, like everything about you, is you try to align it to an energy source which is bigger than you, which is God Himself. God the Creator. People need to understand that there's many gods, but those gods are gods because they have mastered something. They became gods of something that they came here on earth to come and master, right? Or they were given opportunities to be masters in other planets or here on earth, and they are therefore called gods because they actively go or ask themselves or want to improve their beingness. They aim to become higher, to become to reach their higher spiritual level, the highest spiritual level they can attain. But every program, every God program was originally written by, not original, it's always written by God the Creator. Every being, every single God, every single what we refer to as aliens, every being, every entity, everything in the universe is created. That is, it's programmed. The programs are written by Him, by God the Creator, that is, the Creator. There's God of this, God of that, God of rivers, like, God of different things. Is it Hinduism? They have different gods there. The Indian or Red Indians have different, I think it's also gods as well. They call them gods. Africans have gods, African traditions have gods as well. And all those gods were were humans who elevated their status somehow by continuously trying to improve themselves spiritually. They will go, they will come back, they will master self-control, they'll master controlling water, they will master controlling fire, they will master whatever it is that they want to master, whatever it is that they feel like they can come here and master, or go somewhere else to master whatever it is that they want to master. Now, that is the different types of gods, but there is the one God, the Creator, who has all the energy that He affords all of us, and all of the deities and the gods and whoever you want to call it under Him, and the planets and the universes and. Now, aligning to that source, we call it source because it's like source of energy, so to speak. When you align to that source of energy, that pure source of energy, you basically tap in to, maybe that's why people use the word tap in. Now I see where they're coming from. You tap into a connection, or not a connection, but you tap into an energy source which is abundant, where it affords you to be as creative as you want to be, based on what is it that you want to master. So if you want to master water, and water takes so much of energy, right, to master it, you won't be able to achieve that if you don't have enough energy. Let's say He gave you enough energy to just be yourself as He created you. However, you have this need, or He also created you to want to have a need to master water. In order for you to be able to reach that goal, you're gonna have to align yourself with the universe or God, so that you're using that energy. You have access to the energy, infinite energy, that gives you power to control water however you want to control water, control fire, control earth, control, I don't know, animals, speak to any, whatever energy you need, right? And you also get access to not just the energy but the knowledge as well when you need it. Whatever knowledge that you need, you get guidance in that perspective of when you're connecting to source and you have a, a gap in terms of what you know and you want to know something, and you ask the questions and you're guided towards your answers by the universe, or by, okay, let's say by God the creator, be it God the creator in a sense of physical world. It will be like, you're gonna do this, you do that, whatever. But also spiritually with mother, you know, because she's responsible for our spiritual well-being. You will get guidance from both of them basically, and you will get guidance as to how you can manipulate this water, how you can, you know, and they will also afford you that access to that energy, infinite energy, to use as you want. And the what I'm getting is there's no limit of how much you can get. You know, it's only up to you how far you want to control this water, how big you want to make it, how, what is it that you want to do with it. Do you want to turn it into ice? Do you want to turn it into steam? Whatever you want to do with it, right? That's just for an example. So alignment affords you a connection, a tap into that pool of infinite energy. But if you're not aligned, right, you do get your energy, but you also absorb energy from the environments that you live in, just like everybody else. But you don't get that kind of energy where you you sort of like, it's not to take, but you sort of like have access to it, and you can call it anytime you want. Let's use the word call. You can call that energy, you can bring that energy into you, you know, and use it how you need to use it for whatever endeavors that you want to use it for whatever purpose you feel you need it, you to use it for. That's what alignment is. We are all connected to God because we are all within Him. That is, as a program, as a bigger program, right? He writes himself in a sense of program, but he's more energy. He's first energy before he writes himself into a program format of some kind. Let's say he says we are building his image. That is, he wrote a program that looks like us first, and it was him first before he created us and said, okay, let me create more people that look like me, right? But he wrote his own program first. But before he could write the program, his energy, intelligent energy, his intelligence, that intelligence is also energy, is also power. So that was what alignment, that's what I had to learn about alignment, in a sense of it is important for you to align to the universe so that you can always tap into that energy source. You know, they always say things like people are tapped in, you know, meaning you have continuous supply of energy because you like, you know, you're in there, you're swimming in it. So that's why what they mean by alignment, or what I understand by alignment, is that yes, you are a human being, you're walking around on earth, you're living on earth, your energy is coming from the atmosphere, right? And you get it based on how much you ask for usage, in terms of whether you're building it yourself, in a sense of you acquire it by doing certain things that will give you energy, or you're just living with the energy around the atmosphere, because there's energy around atmosphere. This is what helps us to live, right? But then you can tap into a much higher source of energy, much more infinite source of energy, when you're aligned and you're living your purpose. You'll be able to have infinite amount of energy source, and the only thing that restricts you or limits you is your mind, like how far you can take your mind, how far you can imagine your success, how far you can imagine your creation, right? Or your creations. I'm taking my natural painkiller. I have some sort of a bug or flu or something. But anyway, so that's for alignment. And alignment, the purpose for alignment as well. When you're aligned to source, not connected, not just connected, because you can just be connected to source. That is, you're living your life and you're just getting your energy from the environment, right? From the atmosphere. But when you're tapped in, when you're aligned with God, your alignment with Him also brings forward it brings forward access to certain knowledge of who you are, who you really are, like what you were designed for, what you were designed and created for. That is, when you align with source like that, unless even if you can know who you are and not still be aligned to God. That is, you found out and then you stop aligning to Him for whatever reason you did so. But let's say you don't know why you're here. That big question of why am I here? And you want to find out. When you align with source, you're gonna find out. You can ask those questions of why am I here, and they will guide you to show you, all right, this is what you were created for, right? In a way that they will guide somebody like you, because what they did for me might not necessarily work for you. So when they guide you towards your purpose, the reason for you to be here, and answer your question of why you're here, that gives you sort of like a fulfillment and confirmation of, oh yeah, I'm not just here wasting space. I actually have a purpose. I actually have a real purpose. I'm existing for something, and it's a very big something, or a very meaningful something. I am somebody, and it's fulfilling when you understand that it's not even fulfilling so much. It's part of that fulfillment that you're gonna get when you start walking into that purpose. That is, you start living that purpose, and they'll guide you as well. Spirit guides you. Spirit, or what you want to call spirit or source, or you want to call God the creator, will guide you to, or assign also your spirit team to guide you to reach that goal. Your spirit team can be anything or anyone. I mean, it can be some sort of, gods of who are more or less masters in that arena that you want to master as well, or you came here to master. They can assign your ancestors who were most probably your ancestors who were also masters of something similar to what you are. Maybe other gods from other places. You can have also access to God, the creator himself, and Mother, the architect herself. And you, depending on what your mission is, the assignment to you will be based on what your mission is. It's like some people need just one, maybe just a guardian angel. Some people might need a specific type of angel. Some people might need the angels and some gods and some whoever masters that, right? And you go through that. You understand that, oh, this is who I am. This is what I was programmed for. This is why my program was created. I was meant to become a specific type of file, or I was meant to become a specific type of program, or I was meant to become a whatever, man. That's part of programming, or part of the operating system. And other than that purpose, understanding, you also get the guidance, right? First, you get the access to that energy, infinite energy. Then you get the knowledge of self, of who you really are, right? Then you get you understand your purpose, that is what you're here for, right? And then you get your guidance, right, as to how to reach your goals, how to reach the purpose, how to walk in your purpose, to be who you need to be in order for you to achieve your mission, if you have a mission, or to achieve your purpose, right? Because not everybody's here for a mission. Some people are just here for whatever purpose they're here for. That was alignment. And why is it important? I think this is where Jesus, not necessarily Jesus came with. I don't understand the enlightenment. I need to go back to enlightenment and I'll figure it out. But for alignment, that's what you want to do. You want to align with source. Always align with source. Now, where does the ego come in? Why am I saying they actually go hand in hand? Is that what prevents a lot of us from connecting to source, that is God the creator himself, or the universe, or the whatever we need, that infinite source of energy that we need to connect to, is the ego. The ego of I am this person, or I can do this, or I don't need God, or I'm educated, I got my degrees, they can solve everything for me. I have money. Money can buy me anything I want. It can even buy me happiness. I have all these egos that we create. I have my mother, is your mother and your father, or my mother and father. I have rich parents who can provide for me. I don't need to work. I don't need to do anything. I can just be lazy lump of nothing, and I'll have a good life. I don't have to go through and living this so-called purposes. Fine. That's where the ego comes in. It prevents you from connecting to aligning to God, because ego is pretty much you. It's like your it's not you exactly, but it's anything that you use to define yourself other than your purpose, other than your God-given intended purpose for you to be here. It's an ego. It can be a priest, your priest at your church, your mentor. Some people use their mentors as their gods. They worship these people. Your teacher, your father, your mother, your family can be your ego. Your family connections can be your ego. Your job, your profession, your just anything, man, that is egotistical. That's what prevents most people from aligning to the universe. Because what you're basically saying is that you bring everything to self. That is, you bring the responsibility back to self, meaning instead of using that, tapping into that infinite abundant energy that is called God the creator, that pool of energy, you feel like your worldly physical rubbish things make you, right? Because people live like they make them. This is why when they start losing them, they're like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I'm finished. Some people even say that, I am finished, I'm finished, just because of they took their cars and they repossessed their cars and their house. Right? Because it was their ego. They used those things as ego, and not necessarily just towards God, but also towards other people as well. Mostly towards other people and God Himself. It's like, you can't tell me nothing. I went to school and I earn a lot of money and I know what I know. You know, people have that kind of tendency. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I want facts. You know, these people who like, I want facts. I'm logical like that. Oh, okay. All right. Stay with your logic. When you ask the person, explain logic to me, that word that you just said, that person won't be able to, even though they went to school, they won't be able to explain logic to you. What is logic? Really? Don't go and look into a dictionary. Explain it in your own words, yourself. What is logic? If not just a word. But anyway, there's the ego there. You can make logic an ego. No, me, I'm really logical. You know, I don't just go and, challenge that person and ask them questions and see how logical they are. They can't even keep up. The fact that they're able to say shit like that, I'm already picking up a low vibrational being that you won't be able to discuss anything further than the fact that they just said they're logical. And this is why certain types of people who deem themselves logical or intelligent in some way, whenever you start getting into that conversation where you start to try to elevate it a little bit, they struggle. And how do they respond? Anger. Anger towards you, because you're trying, now it's like you're exposing that their logicalness is limited to their low vibration. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that sometimes they won't be able to take the opportunity to notice it or recognize it for what it really is. Because most people don't want to be, it's not to say you're proving them wrong, but when somebody says, oh no, I know, oh okay, you know, therefore explain to me this. And by then you just want to be explained to for real. Or you want to hear someone else's opinion about it and see if yours and theirs match. Like you're trying to make conversation, intelligent conversation. They can't keep up. Very soon the person is gonna be like, yeah, I don't like to argue. I don't like to argue. It's not arguing, we're debating. It's not even debating, we're just having conversation, we're discussing. Come on, calm down. Yeah. Anyway, the ego is what prevents us from aligning. And what ego, like I said, it can be many things. Your government can be an ego. Oh, the government will do this to us. Will do this for us, until they turn their back on you. You're like, this government, this government, that. Oh no, the church, the religion, whatever that you want to put as an ego. That is fine. There are some things which are meant for earthly, physical world things, right? It's not to say that you can't use them. They are there for you to use and appreciate and enjoy. However, there's a certain level of you that should be reserved only for the creator and yourself, not even just for the creator. Yourself as a program that was written to come here to achieve a purpose. You should be reserving that kind of energy for you. The rest of it, small amounts of it, should go to your physical stuff. Unless they are part of your purpose, yes. And that's actually how it's supposed to work. Your purpose will define what you get access to. Remember, when you live in your purpose and you're accessing that infinite energy, you can be a sweeper or floss or a cleaner and be filthy rich. Why? Because of being a sweeper or being a cleaner will be your recreational purpose. But your real purpose would be, your spiritual purpose would be something else, like I don't know, something else, and you would more or less be living in that purpose as well. And that's what's going to make you rich. That you're living both your spiritual purpose, that is your program. You understand who your program is, or what your program is and what it's written for in this world. And you also know your physical or your recreational purpose, which is the one that you live with here on earth. Everybody has a spiritual purpose and a recreational purpose. Spiritual purpose is what you were written for. What program are you? And you need to come here and discover that and start working on that in a way. But you need sort of like, it's not a front to say, but it's your other purpose of how to you operate within a physical environment, right? Because you can't operate as a program in a laptop or in a PC, in a computer, right? If you're a program in a computer, yes, you would operate that way. That is your spiritual side of things. Your spiritual is actually more it's program. It's a program, your spiritual program machine like. But your physical is a more recreational and organic, like with this body of yours and the F body and whatever. But all those things are programs. The skin of yours is a program. Your voice is a program. Everything is a program. That's how good the creator is in terms of programming. He's a master. I can't even wrap my head around it. I can't even wrap my head around how would you even come up with a program like that? Like, how would you make it so real? How would you make a program of my flesh being so soft? Like when I touch it, to have a program where when you touch your skin, it feels velvety and all of that detail. I am thinking, I'm getting that he's able to do that. That is the creator, because of he's got a lot of energy. He's got infinite energy. He doesn't even have to completely write it down. He just has to think it as well. And it's written. And he probably leaves some of the programming part or definition of what your skin feels like to you, to the program, to say, you will define how your skin will feel when you touch it. Who knows? I don't know how it's written, to be honest. It's interesting though. Should find out. Maybe some of the parameters he leaves for us to. I'm actually getting that some of the parameters we define ourselves. We decide how we want to see it, how we want to feel it, how we want to. Most of it, we have a uh, a, a access or freedom. This is free will, I think, where it comes, where you have free will to define it, a lot of things for yourself and to live the way you want to live. Someone can have a smooth skin, right? When everybody else touches them and they'll be like, oh, you got I don't know why I'm talking about skin anyway, but oh, you got such a smooth skin. And then they could be like, oh my goodness, this rough skin. Some of the parameters we define ourselves based on how we think. That's how intelligent this whole program is. That's how intelligent your body and your mind and your beingness of being a human being is. So that's where the ego comes in with alignment, is that you would have an easier way, you would have it easy, you would align easily with source if you just dropped your egos. If you just dropped the I have to be a doctor, when you know very well that it's not really your thing, you're only doing it because your friends are doing it. If you drop your ego to say, I have to earn more money by all means necessary. And just allow the universe to show you how you and your program is rich in spirit. Yeah, Abraham Hicks used to say, you guys are all rich in spirit. You are all rich in spirit. That is, your spirit is rich. Your spirit is rich because it's got access to infinite energy, infinite resource. It can create anything it wants. It's the limitations here on earth where a lot of rubbish has been created to keep our focus away from God the creator and and keep our focus on things, on whether you acquire things, whether you acquire status, whether you acquire a perception that you portray to people. But if we didn't have all these distractions, it would be easier for us to connect. But it's not to say that these things that are here on earth are not necessary, and they are not needed. I mean, not necessary, but I mean, what I mean is they're not necessary. They are necessary. It's just they're not necessary for certain things, like your spirituality. They're not necessary for that. They are necessary for you to physically. It's good for you to physically live in a good home, to physically live in a good, drive a good car, to have good food, have a nice environment, clean environment. It is a must. It's a necessity. It must be so. You deserve it. Everybody deserves that. That should be standard. That should be a given, right? But this environment has made us to believe that, right, is what is important first. But it's not the case. What is important is to nurture your spirituality. And as a result, that spirituality will bring forth your gifts from that infinite source that you're tapping into. It will bring it forth from the spirit world into your reality, where you are going to bring all that abundance that you have tapped into your physical, because you know who you are, you know what you need to do, you're walking in your purpose, and you're abundantly working in your purpose, so that you don't have any restrictions, any limitations. When you want something, you ask for it, then you get it. You don't say, oh, but I'm just a cleaner. Why should I deserve to drive a Benz? Just because you want it, right? It's not the stories of, this is where I had a problem with people who talk about this manifesting and co-creating, that they're not really telling us exactly how to do it. They just, I don't know, I never got it. They just tell you where to go so that you can pay money, and then you will find out. Crooks. So yeah, that's where the ego comes in with alignment. It's like, if you drop your egos, I had to drop many egos, many egos. I don't even remember them, but I dropped them. I had to drop the egos of, I know, I had to drop the egos of, a job is only a job if it's in a company of some kind, a mainstream workplace. I had to drop an ego of a car. I do have a car, but I had to drop that and be prepared for it to lose it. Sorry. I had to drop egos of ownership of things, assets, and all these things. But for me, I didn't need to. But it was some of the things that prevented me from seeing or moving forward. And it was clutter, because Father wanted to give me something better. And to give me something better, I needed to get rid of these old things. And I have had them for a long time. And I did. I wanted to get rid of any and all the old things so that I can get new stuff, right? Better stuff. It's been a while since I've had those things. I mean, my house, my home, I had owned it for like close to 10 years or so, or over 10 years. I don't remember well. My car is like 16 years or 17 years old. I owned it for 16, 17 years. Still there, just not driven. Most of the things that I have has been bought, like in my household. My house, it has been bought since I bought the house. So they were old things. And I had planned to start, moving somewhere else, changing my place, getting new stuff, and all of that. So I didn't mind really getting rid of them. But those things are also a trap because, especially when you identify with them, that, oh, I live in this place, and this, this fancy estate, or I drive this fancy car, or, you know, egos. I earn a lot of money and people must see. Yeah. I learned about ego and how dangerous it is as well. I learned about how ego can get you into situations where they can be life threatening because of you would think that you know something or you understand something or you are powerful or your money is good. Like you would behave based on whatever it is, thinking that you are the best of the best in the game with whatever ego it is that you have. And you would put yourself in a position where you might just find out that no, you're still like beginning, you're still a child in the game. And ego is one of those things that gets people into a lot of unnecessary trouble because you think that even in simple things like what you earn, right? You might think just because of somebody's a teacher doesn't earn a lot of money because you are working in a bank or something. But then when you find out that some of these teachers actually earn a lot of money, you feel some type of way and you become jealous now. You exhibit the behavior of jealousy and all those kind of things. That is, you get even more low vibrational because why would you even be thinking such thoughts as well? So I had to learn to always keep my alignment with God. I was connected to Him. He was always looking after me. But alignment with Him was always there in a sense of I just knew. I asked for anything and I would get it. But I didn't understand it as alignment. I understood it as whatever I asked for, I got. I'll be like, and whatever I asked for genuinely so, that I really felt in my heart that I love that. I think I want that. I'm going to get it. I never struggled for anything. I always say that I never wanted or needed for anything. Father was always looking after me. But I wasn't grand as well. I wasn't like grand in my requests. But I did have like I realized that these guys listened because there was a time I was like, I want to own a yacht. Not because of it's expensive, right? Because of I just like the idea of living in that nice, beautiful place in the middle of the ocean. It wasn't about I didn't even know how much they cost. Whether they were like expensive things or for billionaires or whatnot. I didn't even know that when I first wanted to be. And I remember my sister saying, do you know how much a yard is when? And I was like, how much are they? Let me check. And I was like, ooh, okay. But in my mind, I didn't see any restriction. I was like, oh, okay, there are like a couple of millions. Okay, I get it. I could get that. I never had like too much of restrictions, but I grew into that. I grew into, because of the environment that I was in, was an environment where people had a mentality of lack. I adopted that bad behavior. But when I came here, I wasn't a when I was growing up, I wasn't a person who had a lack mentality. I was always like, oh, I want something, and I knew I was going to get it, and I was going to find a way to get it, and that was just that. But the lack mentality makes you feel like, oh, but where are you going to get my money? It makes you ask you so many questions that you don't really need to ask. Just believe that that's really what, make a decision. Is that what you want? Yes, it's what I want. Like right now, I know I want the house, right? And when I'm saying just know what you want, and my house flashes in my mind, the house that I want, and I'm like, oh yeah, I made a decision. Now I know I made a decision. It flashes in my mind because nothing else comes into my mind except for when I'm thinking of a home, I'm thinking of that house, right? And yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. I'm really hoping and praying that I'm going to get to live in my house, the home that my father's gonna buy for me. I asked him, I was like, so, because he was making me choose houses before I got here. It's like, you're gonna need a home. And when he made me choose the house, I chose like something small, simple, and cute. Father was like, nope. I got the feeling like he was like, my daughter is not going to live. She's gonna live in a nice place, like a much nicer place, right? And I'm like, I know, but then these are too big and the money is too much. He's like, don't worry about it. Okay. So we eventually settled on the home that I wanted. But, you know, um, it's like I fell in love with that house, and I fell in love with it when I saw it again on earth. And I'm like, yeah, but then you have these plans in your head of how you think things are gonna work out. I don't know how father wants me to live in that house. I don't know if I lived in that house, but if I don't live in that house, oh, it will be something else. I know I don't feel like there's going to be anything better. It's very emotional for me, in a sense of it's something that him and I chose together, and I just want to live in it. When you walk around the home and you're like, this is the house that my father chose for me, or helped me to choose. It's different from living in a house where you're like, yeah, yeah, I'm living in this house. I kind of liked it, and that it doesn't have that history and that connection to him, even though he would be helping me to get to the house, but it's not the same. It's not going to be the same as the one that he chose for me. I say he chose for me because he was like, look at this one. Are you sure? Look at this one. I think you should look at this one again. So when I live in that house, I feel like I'm always going to feel his presence. Like I will always remember when he chose it for me. Like every corner will be like, your father wanted me to be in this house. Now I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I guess that's where I am. I just pray that nothing has changed. I just really, really pray that nothing has changed. But anyway, I don't know. We'll see. I So yeah, enlightenment and ego were one of those two lessons one of the lessons, two lessons that there's many things that I learned, um, and I keep learning. Like today's learning is not the same as what I learned when I was at the farm. So it changes, it develops. It develops further and further and further as I get more and more understanding. Um, yeah. How does it feel like to be an aligned, peaceful, stress free, trust? This trust, there's a level of you're okay. You just know that no matter what happens, the spirit team is looking after you, source is looking after you. You don't really get bothered by a lot of things. You really remain unbothered by a lot of things. That's how you feel when you're enlightened. The ego part of it, I pick it up every once in a while and I'm like, yo, Father, here, I think it's an ego thing. Because for me, I'm not gonna hide certain things. I'm not gonna be shy that I can be egotistical, or I can be karmic sometimes. I can be low vibrational. I can have some low vibrational behavior sometimes. Nobody's perfect. you know I'm not here to be perfect for nobody. Hi, Soze. I'm not here for someone else's BS here, or to be graded, or what is it, uh yeah, to be put on some sort of a scale against. No one can stand on a scale with me, by the way. And I'm not boasting in a sense of, oh, no one can stand on a scale with me. No, in a sense of, I'm different, you're different, and nobody should put themselves on a scale with anybody in the first fucking place. Don't do that. Don't 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 weigh yourself against anybody. So I'm not here to be weighed. No. Or to be, you can judge me all you want. People can judge me all they want. Here's the thing with that judgment, right? It doesn't matter. It's probably a reflection on you than it is on me, because I've seen a lot of people like to reflect themselves on me. And number two is that uh I don't give a shit. I don't. Never had, really. I never really gave a shit about such things. So this is why it's easy for me to be myself. That is, to be authentic. It's because of, I don't care what other people are saying or what people think. You know. Why should I? Who are they? Huh? They don't even know who they are. Imagine being weighed by people who don't understand who they are. At least I can say I'm trying, I'm learning. But then who are you? And a person who knows themselves would never, ever judge you like that. Person who's aligned and who's awake, they'll never be resorting to such low vibrational behaviors of trying to be judgmental against people. I know sometimes I can sound judgmental. The people think I'm judgmental, but I'm not. I'm just struggling with um I study things, right? It's not to say that I'm judgmental. I I I'm always trying to learn, and when I'm told that I must learn from something or someone, I go there like excitedly, so you know, like, oh, I'm gonna learn something new. But when I get there and I'm disappointed, I get disappointed. Well, and then I'll start like separating it and picking at it, not to destroy it, but to see what is wrong with it. And that's part of who I am. That's part of my program. Why am I saying that's part of my program? My program is a defragmentation tool, defragmentation program. My job is to take things apart and build them back up. You know, takes these blocks apart and them back up properly so that they don't have any holes on them. So whenever I see a concept, or I see some topic or something like that, I take it apart like that. It's not to say when I'm taking it apart, I'm taking you, even people, I do take them apart, but not as a, like, taking the person themselves apart. I'm taking the, it's almost like I'm becoming a impersonal, so to speak. I forget, I'm not really judging you. It's more like I see you as that block, and I'm picking it, I'm picking it and picking, seeing it how it works, and then I'm putting it back up again. It's like, okay, this is missing here, that is missing here, that is missing here. That's what my tool does, as a defragmentation tool. My job is to bring you into a solid state. And to be able to do that, I need to pick you apart and build you up again so that you're built properly. But then this is where I struggle with humans in terms of this world, in terms of living on earth, where I struggle with people, getting to their emotions about it. That, oh, I'm not, they never say I'm judgmental in a sense, but sometimes I do feel like they think that I'm trying to be judgmental, and I'm not. I'm picking you. I'm picking, not you. I'm picking at you as a program apart. I'm not picking at you as a human being apart. And people are too sensitive. I can be sensitive as well. I have to swallow my pride. That's the ego there. That sensitivity about who you are and your shortcomings. It's an ego. But if somebody said to you, you have a shortcoming here and here, and I'll be like, do I need to fix it? Is it something that I can fix? Oh no, you can't fix it. It's actually part of who you are. Oh well. Then tough then. Because it's my purpose. It's part of my purpose. It's part of how I'm going to achieve my goals. I'm not gonna get rid of it just because of you sensitive about it. It's your problem to not be sensitive about it. It's my job to take it apart if I need to take it apart. And yeah, but this is part of when you connect with your, or not connect, align with source, the creator. This is where you find that answers to such things, and working through your egos, dropping all these egos, they help you so as well. Connecting to source helps you. It makes you feel like, why are you holding on to this? Can't you feel that it's too heavy for you to carry around? And you start dropping them, because the only person's opinion that matters to you is your opinion and God's opinion. That's it. I know when I'm talking, people are like, she's just talking. No, it is actually that way. You feel that way. You feel like, it feels like, ah, even if it hurts, right? Even if they say something and it hurts you, because sometimes they use words to hurt you, right? Wrong, not wrong ways, but untrue things and true statements. They put them out there with the intention to hurt you, and you get hurt. You're human, right? You're like, how can they see me like this? I don't even see myself like that. But then you learn to work through those type of things quickly. You're like, I'm not gonna hang around this type of feelings, because this is what these people intend to do to me. That is to put me down so that I start vibrating lower. And this is how they're gonna attack me now again, because they're controlling my emotions with stupid statements, and I'm letting them. Why am I letting them? Anyway, who cares about them? I don't care about them. Does God see me right? Yeah, He does. Always. Whether I'm wrong or right, He sees me right. And that's the thing. Most people don't realize that God doesn't see you as, He's not, He's like me. He's not judgmental when He looks at you. He looks at you as in like, okay, what's wrong with this person? Let me see. They're missing here, they're missing there. This is how He's going to be impersonal and try to fix you, by making you do things. I mean, He did it to me too, eh? And I got so frustrated, like so frustrated. It's like, I don't want to. Like, He would say to me, you have the power. Whenever I'm going through something hard, it's like, you have the power, you can handle it, you have the power. And I'm like, I don't want to be powerful, I don't want to be strong, and because at that moment He sees me, no, He sees me as everything that He needs to see me, as His daughter, as His child. as a human being with feelings, human feelings. He sees me. He sees my program. He sees everything. But he knows that what's best for me is not to be babied to some degree, but to be helped to work through something. And then on the other end, I'll be like, okay, I see what you meant, Father. Thank you. I see what you did there, but it was rough, but thank you. Like, I'm glad you pushed me. But at the same time, when he pushes me, it's like, no, I don't want to. I really do like refuse it, like try to fight. It's like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And then I do it, and I'm like, okay, I see what you meant. It is actually nicer and easier this way. And it's not as tough as you think it would be. It's just your imagination tells you, oh, it's going to be tough, it's going to be painful. But it really not. It really doesn't have to be. It's not as bad as it looks. It's usually not as bad as it looks. It's usually not as bad as it sounds. But yeah. That's there's more of I'll discuss the other ones on other recordings. But there's more of that stuff that I learned.